everybody, we're proud to announce our Saturday morning cartoons brought to you by Hey Poopy Podcast.
Dumping every fourth Saturday of the month.
Stories taken directly from our interviews. These are one-of-a-kind masterpieces of hilarious proportions.
Animated by Matt Holtzclaw, our very first guest of the podcast.
We are so excited, we're going to poop our pants!
For more information, go to heypoopypodcast.com.
Hey Poopy, how you doing? Hey Poopy, how you doing?
I'm just, trying to find a place with like-minded people to talk about like-minded things about me, about poop and stuff.
Hey Poopy, how you doing? Hey Poopy, how you doing?
Oh man, what's this right here? Is this a podcast about poop?
And now, the Hey Poopy Podcast with Dave and Ellen.
Hello, everyone. We are back.
Hey!
We're back for more. And we're really excited. We have a very special guest all the way. I mean, this is a long-distance guest that we're very, very excited to have on the show.
This is our most long distance.
Yeah, I mean, like...
Yeah, but it's quarantine, right? We're all connected now.
Yeah.
We're all stuck in...
Welcome to the show, Indi Samarajiva.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
and this is the Hey Poopy Podcast with
Dave
and Ellen, and this is episode 71, but it'll always be number 2 to us.
Number 2.
And yeah, our guest is all the way from Sri Lanka, which is amazing that we could do this. We've had 2 guests on that were like still in the United States, but one in Texas and one in California. And then we've had a guest from London, but this is our most long distance guest. I mean, it's like almost tomorrow for you. Like,
yeah, this is a lot further.
Yeah.
It's about 12 hours difference. Yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for being on the show with us.
Yeah.
Of course, man. I got nothing to do. I'm just hanging out here, eating like fish.
But you wrote this brilliant article about bidets, and so then I cold emailed you because I was like, if anybody's going to talk about bidets, I want to hear more about it. We've had a couple of people on, like the owner of Hello Tushy on, and we love bidets. We love talking about them. We're all about washing and not wiping.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
I can't even, it's just so hard when I go somewhere where I have to dry wipe. It drives me like insane.
So you guys have bidets?
Yes.
Yeah, we have the snap-on ones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're not the proper like.
So it like sprays up your butt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the proper like separate one, but it's
not
but it's like you just tack it on to the back of your toilet, and it took me like 15 minutes to actually put it on, and it just like fresh water right up your butt, cleans it all out, and you can get it for like under $100. I mean, American dollars here, $100. So anybody listening again, you can just go online and find it. Yeah, it's perfect. I mean,
so there's it's like the Japanese toilets, like the fancy ones.
Yeah. I mean, I wish
this is
that's my goal. Yeah, that's my goal in life is to have one of those Toto toilets. But this is a cheaper option.
This is like everyone here uses a bum gun. It's like essentially like a garden hose you just hook up to like the side of the toilet.
Yes.
So that costs like $20 or less. It's amazing.
Yes.
And it's fun also.
But Indi, before we go into talking more bidet talk, we love to check in their guests about how your poo's been. So
I know. I picked up this Bristol scale thing. I've been watching my poops. So I'm between like a 5 and a 6.
Oh, okay. You're like Dave.
That's where I'm at.
So is the Bristol scale? Is it like a good and bad? Like, is there like an optimal range you're supposed to be in?
3s and 4s are supposed to be like the best, and 1 is closer to constipation, and 7 is obviously like butt pee diarrhea. And they do the scale. I think was invented for doctors to like show their patients so they could like talk about it. But we use it because it's an easy way to just give us a number instead of you. I mean, like I can go fully into describing my poops, but some people are not as like brazen as I am. So,
ironically,
I've never been into 3 or 4. That's too bad. I'm like always at like a 5 or 6.
Okay. I go from like 3 to 6 usually, but lately I've been in the 5-6 range. Which I guess I'm going into my check-in right now. But I think 5 or 6 is where I'm at.
If I get a 3 or 4, like if I can see like a discernible shape, I'm proud. but
Yeah.
that's quite rare.
You should be proud of that. Number 4 is like the gold standard.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm impressed, but it's quite rare.
Yeah.
My daughter has 3 or 4. So I have 2 kids, so I see like a lot of poop all the time. Her poops are 3 or 4s, and they're like huge. I don't know how. It's like the size of her arm.
That's awesome.
Oh my God.
But they're little kids. That's why you're seeing their poop. It's not like they're teenagers. And they're like, hey, Dad, check out my shit over here.
No. She asked, like, do you like washing my butt? I'm like, no, I don't. Like, you need to learn how to do this.
I like the honesty because I would have the same reaction of like, no, this is not enjoyable. But yeah, I'm about 5 or 6 for me as well.
You're still a little loose in the caboose, Dave?
Yeah, here or there. Like it's weird. Like I've been making like really good healthy food, but I'll just pair it with like some snacking. Before all this coronavirus business, I would never bring that stuff home because it didn't really jive with my weight loss scheme. But as of late, you just grab everything you can in the house just so you don't have to keep going outside. So I find myself snacking.
Yeah, my
a little
diet's
more.
all messed up. I just like think about food all day and I just like eat random stuff all day.
Just I just get up off my desk, walk into the kitchen. I'm like, I'll take a handful of chips. I'm like, why am I doing? Like I'm eating it. I'm like, why am I eating these? Like just, and then as a result, I feel like my poops haven't been that great. But it's okay,
Right.
Everybody's got to do what they got to do to survive, right?
Yep.
I think as long as you're pooping, you're like alive, right?
Exactly.
So
I've already taken 2 poops today. It's 11. It's like what 11:14. So I've already gone to the bathroom twice.
Could you imagine being constipated during quarantine and like having to go to the doctor for that? Like you're like, I haven't pooped in 2 weeks. I'm so sick. And it's like the doctors are like, we have other things going on right now. I can't help you with your shit.
They wouldn't even let you go to they would like, don't bother coming in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't go.
Yeah, there was
constipation. I thought constipation would be like cool, but it's not. Like I've been constipated. It's horrible.
It's the worst feeling. It's just like it just ruins everything. All you're thinking about is like, when am I going to poop?
Yeah.
So
I've been constipated so bad in the past that I couldn't physically eat until I pooped. Like I was so nauseous and sick. So yeah, constipation is the worst. But I as we were saying, it's early-ish morning for us. It's really early for me because I've been in quarantine time zone where I've been like getting up super late. I haven't even pooped yet today because I'm still drinking my morning coffee. But yesterday I made
turn into something in the middle of this podcast because I have to go in the morning, and if I have a coffee, it's like
there might be a big possibility I have to pause and run to the toilet. But
it's happened before.
did poop twice yesterday, and one of my poops yesterday was so long and skinny. I was like, what is that? Like, what did I eat that like it was like a tiny skinny little snake. I was like, I don't like that. I'm not a happy camper. I want thick. I want a Bristol 4s that are like thick and healthy and happy.
You're a size
So
queen.
yeah, I am a size queen.
yeah. No, I get scared if I see like a really big one come out. I'm like, how did that get out?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Indy, on that one. Every time that happens, I'm like part of me's impressed for a second, then I'm like, that just seems way completely unnatural. I mean,
That's great.
it's good, but that just shouldn't. I don't know. Like, what the hell? Oh my god. But anyway,
But talking about like seeing doctors, I actually had a physical appointment in a couple weeks, and they called me up and they had to cancel it because of Corona. They don't want anybody that's like not sick coming. And this Friday, I'm going to actually do my physical via Skype.
really?
Yeah.
How's that going to work?
I don't know, but they were like, do you want to do a video or a call in? And I was like, okay, but don't you guys need blood work and like take my heartbeat and all the rest of it? So
I think all that shit's like off the table.
Yeah.
It's like, are you breathing? Go
exactly,
home.
Yeah. You can breathe, you can walk,
it's
you're
gonna be
good.
really interesting because I was like, this is supposed to be a physical. I can push it back, and they're like, no, we have availabilities for Skype, and I'm like, okay. So we'll see.
Well, fingers
Might
crossed.
be a complete waste of time.
They'll probably just make you like put a Fitbit on, and you can just email them all your stats from that.
Right?
Yeah, heart rate.
I always wondered if like maybe if you had like some smart toilet or whatever that was like clocking your like poop, you can get a lot of information out of that.
You know, it's funny you should say that. We did a story a while back about companies that are making toilets right now. They're supposed to analyze. I mean, the data's not there yet, and they're still like, you know, figuring it out. But they're building these toilets right now where it's going to be able to analyze your poop, and then from that, the toilet will send information to like a computer or your doctor, and they can be able to like actually process what's going on in your, you know. But right now they don't have enough actual like human testing. They've been using like these sort of like made up like poop things, like these sort of like almost like Play-Doh like things.
I've heard about that.
Yeah,
so you can't find people to. I don't know. I guess it's.
I know it's. Well, I think they're just looking for like, you know, they don't have enough test samples yet, human test samples. So, which is weird because I just imagine it'd be like people, yeah, I'll shit in that toilet, sure. I don't know.
Yeah, but I read about that with the space program when they were building the space toilets. Like they had to like make fake poop to like test in these space toilets.
Yeah, that's what they're doing for this. I forgot the name of this company. I think they're. I don't know. I forget where they're located too. But anyway, there's a bunch of that stuff going on right now, which is actually fascinating. I mean, from a science perspective, like if you can just sort of, it's very Star Trek. It's almost like we're analyzing what you ate, like that's going through your body, how it's being processed, and then like
there's a lot of information in poop. Like there's people who study like prehistoric poop to see what people were eating, or like with animals, you can learn a lot from their poop.
Completely.
And also one thing I realized with kids is like we're constantly, because we're wiping their butts, like we're constantly in touch with like how healthy they are. Like, are they eating? Is anything wrong? Especially when they're like newborns. Yeah. Like, you know, they tell you like if it's green or obviously if it's red, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
But you're like super in touch with how healthy your kids are.
Oh, completely.
Because you're like cleaning their gross butts all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have children, but I have a lot of friends do and a lot of family, and it's like, yeah, the same thing. Like, they're just like the newborn.
Have you changed a nappy?
I've changed one diaper once, and I was just like, this is... I was not very good at it. I'm like, this is crazy. I went to college. I can't do this.
No, it's messed up.
So, yeah.
So, Indi, tell us a little bit about yourself before we go into your poop.
So I grew up in America. I'm like a Canadian Sri Lankan citizen. I was born in Canada. I studied in McGill. So I kind of like lived between cultures my whole life. We were always bouncing around. And then I came back here as an adult, and I worked here as like a journalist, and I started a startup here, which is actually like a food review thing. Not like Yelp, but like Time Out or something.
Okay.
And then we sold that to like the local version of Uber, which is, it's called Pick Me. So that's like the local cab app. And so I helped them set up a food delivery service. And then I just like took my payout. And then I've been writing on Medium full time since then.
Oh, wow.
And then since I'm earning $8, it like works out pretty well for me here.
Oh, it's great.
The food delivery service is perfect for right now.
Oh,
yeah, right now. So right now, I know in the US, like Uber Eats now is like more business than Uber. And it's the same thing here. Like the food delivery side is bigger than because food delivery suddenly spilled into everything here. Like now you could do groceries, vegetables, like pharmaceuticals, like everything is like delivered now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, that's
we're also under complete shutdown. Like we can't like go outside. So everything has to, but the government also sends around vans with like, and they send around trucks with food and stuff.
Yeah, that's I mean, total side note, that's amazing that your government's doing that, because our government's like completely, it's just out of control. There's no sense of like
I love Americans, but the rest of the world is like, what the fuck?
Oh, completely.
Like people used to like look up to America at and now it's just like, this is a total basket case.
It's
like we're shut down with 200 cases, right? You guys waited until like there were like tens of thousands of deaths.
Oh, yeah.
And you're still not really shut down.
No, not at all. And you get these people walking around like there's like nothing going on. It's just so selfish, and like it just drives me crazy. But
and there's some states that people were just at church the other day for Easter. And I know this episode comes out much longer. It's going to be coming out weeks after Easter, but this is just right after. And in Mississippi and Louisiana, people went to church because they don't care. They think Jesus is going to save them from this virus.
Yeah, it's
silly.
Insane. But you know, all you can do is do your part, and hopefully people get on board at some point, but it's not looking so good right now.
I think it's part of like a global shift, right? Like I think Americans have been coasting on like the moon landing and like World War II for about
Agreed.
50, 60 years now. And like now, actually, I think this will segue into what we're doing. But like, so I've been to like Korea and China, and those places are way more advanced than. So if you fly into like JFK, you're like, what is this like backwards country? And you fly into like like Seoul, like Incheon, you're like, wow, this is the future.
Yeah.
Like
this is what it's
these
supposed
places
to be.
Have actually like. I think they were developing once, but now they're like developed. And in that time, like American like public health infrastructure, it's all been like declining.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You can kind of see it now.
So there's no sense.
Yeah, there's
of like,
this Republican idea that like they wanted to get government down to the size you could drown it in a bathtub.
Yeah.
And like now you've done it.
they're completely,
so like now your government's
it's like
drowned,
completely
like,
completely well done, A+, because now we're like, and people are just realizing, oh wow, this is fucked. But anyway, this is not a political show, even though it's hard to like ignore all these things that are going on. But
No, but you
can tell the difference in toilets, right? You can also tell the difference in toilets. So if you fly into Singapore, the Singapore airport toilets are magnificent. Like they're amazing. Like they just, because it has the full like Japan toilet seat, so it like washes, like there's like great smelling soap. It's like marble. They're amazing. And you're like, this is the future. I haven't been to the JFK toilets in a while, but I doubt they're like
horrible. I mean, they're exactly what you think they are. They're absolutely wretched. I mean, also the thing I can't get about living in this country is like public stalls. Why they don't go from floor to ceiling is like insane to me. It's like,
and they have like 1-inch gaps.
Yeah.
Where you can see through the door. It's like, really? Like, no place in Europe you ever going to go where you could like literally see somebody else pooping through the door.
Yeah, that's true, like, actually, yeah. The toilets I've been to in East Asia and all, they go to the bottom. I hadn't thought of that.
Well, it's just like my theory is that, again, because of capitalism, which, you know, it's whatever, it's fine, but the idea of like the lowest bidder is probably like, hey man, we can do the same job for like, 50 cents less, and guess what? You're gonna see your ankles. I'm gonna be able to see through the door. I mean, it's a complete lack of privacy and dignity, but we're gonna get it for cheaper. So
yeah, I guess if you multiply that by like all the toilets in the world, you
completely
probably someone gets to go to the Hamptons.
Yes.
But even like going to talking about the United States versus the world, I'm almost everywhere I've traveled either has a bum gun, some kind of bidet. Like everywhere else is so much more advanced with washing your ass versus wiping. And like we are literally just getting onto the idea of a bidet here. It's crazy.
Yeah, it only took a global
I think that's
pandemic.
Also something to do with capitalism as well, because like the West is the only place that treats this basic human need as like a subscription service. It's like you have to pay money to clean your butt, and if there's like an epidemic or something, you have to go and like stock up on this consumer good in order to like be like clean and functional. Everybody else is just using like municipal water for that. You can even use just like a bucket, right? You don't even need any particular plumbing.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, like going back before all this, actual toilets, people use like what, their left hand and a little bowl of water next to it. I mean, if you want to go old school,
yeah,
and it's just like that's all you need. But it's like, yeah, we've been just mainly in the West, in this country, like just beaten to like thinking that everything has to be like I said, subscription based or paid for, or like, and also it's like that's different. We can't do that. We're not about that. So anything that's like,
there's this weird sort of aversion in the West, which I understand a bit because I grew up there, but to like learn anything from the rest of the world, because like for us, because we were colonized, or because like consumer goods and all these things came from the West, we're always learning from other places. So we're always like, oh, they're doing it this way in America, we're doing it this way, they're doing it this way in UK, we're doing it this way in Singapore. But like in America, people don't have those conversations too much, right? Like if someone says they're doing something this way, like say Bernie, right? If he says they're doing something this way in Denmark, that just like, it's not even like something considered, right? Because the default response is, oh, we're better than Denmark.
Oh, completely.
We're better than like Singapore. We're better than that. But that also means you miss out on like a lot of like information from around the world.
Well, it's ignorance, it's fear, it's people that don't fucking travel, but it's just like that idea of like, I don't know anything about that, that's different, so fuck it. It's just like there's no sense of like, oh, maybe I could actually learn something, because a lot of those Norwegian countries are doing amazing things with recycling, the way they actually, the way they treat their the people there. Like there's no sense of like, I mean here at least there's no sense of you're protecting the people, you're sort of like for the people. The idea that we are the government is just like gone. It's just like been bought and sold like decades ago. So,
but you have these like amazing consumer goods. So like,
yeah, we're good at that shit.
So when I wrote the post is titled, I wrote in July before all this happened. It's called like white people, you need to wash your butts. So a lot of people wrote me saying like, that's racist, like you're racist. And they would respond to me by being like way more racist to me.
Oh, 100%.
So a lot of the stuff they send is like, they send stuff about like open defecation in India. And I was like, I'm not Indian. And some of the articles, which again is like way over people's heads.
Yeah.
But like some of the articles they sent me, so one of them had a picture of someone who's going out to poop in outdoors, which is not ideal. But they're carrying a bucket of water with them. And so what I responded to this person was like, yes, open defecation is bad, but that person's butt is still cleaner than yours. Like that, because that person is still carrying water with them. Like, I don't know. But I don't know if this will, but there's a lot to learn from the rest of the world. Like you can mix and combine different cultures to have like a better existence. But one of the most obvious things is just washing your butt. Like Arab people have been doing this forever. Like I think ever since there was like water, people have just been like washing their butts.
Yeah, it's just like this, it's the most basic, simple thing. I mean, it's just. I mean, when
I can understand, because like growing up in America, going back, I found it difficult to wash my butt. Like I think up to an awkward age, my cousin would like have to help me. I think until I was like 10 or something, right? And you don't want to be doing that, but he was quite nice. But so it is like a bit of like a leap to start it, and it does feel like a bit weird if you're used to wiping with toilet paper. So I understand that first step, but then once you wash with water, you cannot go back to toilet paper.
I'm with you 100%. At this point, I use TP just to dry, really, like a pat kind of dry thing. I don't really use it
TP
to
for like a dry and like a little check to see if I like wash correctly.
Like I'm not using it like before. I would just rip off like sheets and sheets just to get clean.
Yeah, so like it's such like a bad experience, right? When you keep wiping and you're like, when will this end? Like, what am I doing? Like, will the toilet flush?
My boyfriend always says it's like wiping a magic marker, you know, like you just keep wiping and the marker just keeps drawing on the paper. But like this was before we got the bidet. And when I first installed it, Dave actually told me there was these snap-on bidets. And when I first installed it, my boyfriend was like, I'm not going to use that. And I was like, well, it's not in your way. You don't have to use it. And then within 2 weeks, he was like, I can't believe we've lived without this thing. And then like he like went out of town and he's like, the hotel doesn't have a bidet. I get my butthole, and I'm like, I know. It's like it's a game changer.
Well,
like
now if I travel to like England or something, I actually had time my poop so I can have a shower afterwards because I can't like deal with it.
Yeah, it's like I feel
I
like
bring
completely
my travel
unclean.
bidet everywhere with me.
What's a travel bidet?
It's like just like a little water bottle that you can like fill up, but it squirts like just a tiny little stream so you can still wash. But I have one in my purse at all times and one in my travel kit. So
yeah, I was in Mexico. I was in Mexico prior to this whole pandemic thing for 2 weeks, and we brought our travel bidet, and it's just like a lifesaver because it's like you go anywhere you go. It's like there's most places don't have it, and it's so hard to go back to like just dry wiping. So.
Oh, that's great.
I'm like a huge.
If I ever get access to like a shop again, I'll get one of those.
I've been in this quarantine FaceTiming a lot with good friends, and one of my friends actually took one of her old soap, like dish soap bottles, washed it out, and turned it into her own at-home bidet because she's like, I'm running out of toilet paper. I don't know what to do. And I was like, you should just make your own bidet. So she did. So she has like a squirt bottle that she made out of an old dish soap bottle.
Oh, so she's actually running out of toilet paper. You guys are actually running out of toilet paper there.
Yeah, because everybody's hoarding, and so it's been hard to find it in the stores.
Actually, my little bodegas actually has people have been pretty respectful with like the TP.
That's good.
I mean, which is good.
But my friend lives in Manhattan, so maybe it's a difference in Manhattan. But she made her own bidet.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I think maybe the bodega, like the Chinese groceries, might still have.
Yeah, because no one goes in there. I mean, I go in there. My new thing is like I go at like midnight or like 12:30 in the morning, or early morning, because no one's shopping and no one's out there, and it's just me and the clerk, and it's fantastic. Actually, after all this is over, whenever this is over, I might just do that in general. Because, I mean, I'm lucky that we have...
I literally have been calling up grocery stores, like, what time do you close? And they're like, 8 p.m. I was like, I'll be there at 7:45 because I do not want to wait in the line. I want as less people around me as humanly possible.
Yeah. It's crazy that this is like the new normal.
You guys wear masks when you go out?
I do, yeah. I don't do the gloves so much because it's like I feel like the gloves are great, but it's just like you're touching everything, and then if you have to grab your phone or anything, I go no gloves, full mask, and then as soon as I get home, I just break everything down, and then I just spritz everything, wash my hands like immediately, and then I have a little routine with the food stuff. But yeah, for sure, masks.
Dave, I really have to go to the bathroom.
It's okay.
I'm back.
Nice. That was quick.
It was ready to go. It was turtling.
The baby's coming out now.
But I officially made a Bristol 4. It was only like incredible. A 6-incher though, but it was nice and thick.
Ellen has like
these.
That's incredible. Yeah, she's like.
I haven't had one of those for months. I like get a turd of the month for that.
You get a plaque.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I drink psyllium husk. Have you heard
I don't know.
of psyllium husk?
No.
It's like basically the most fibrous thing you can drink, and it's just like a powder. It's like Metamucil is what psyllium husk is, but Metamucil puts like sugar and flavoring in it. I just get just the psyllium husk. I don't need all that extra bullshit. And you do like a tablespoon of that in a full glass of water, and you make the best dumps in the world.
It's interesting.
Yeah, we
5-star dumping.
If you're having problems too, papaya extract works really good. They come in like little pill forms or chewables. You can try this stuff called Pure for Men. It's great. Actually, it's really, really amazing. It's got this insoluble and soluble fiber that helps with like binding your poop and then helps kind of scrub it out on the way out. So there's lots of things out there.
Flax oil.
Flaxseed oil is great.
Oil's really good for
so right now we don't
lubing
have
up.
access to like any of that stuff. We just get like whatever the hell comes off a truck. Like
Oh, shit.
so it's like fruits and veg. Like
Right. But I mean too, it's just
Well,
like
I literally have like a mason jar that's about like 12 inches high by like 6 inches diameter, full of psyllium husk for this entire quarantine. So I'm ready to go.
you're locked and loaded. Living in Sri Lanka, working as a journalist, and do you still get like people responding to that article about white people hitting to wash their butts? I mean, I love that article so much, by the way.
Cool. No, so I wrote in July, and like it just like it was like a normal article, and then it just started picking back up like when this coronavirus stuff started kicking off, and that's how I got the sense of like, oh, like people are really having a problem there. Because now it's been my biggest article for a couple months. Like it's basically paying the bills for like the last 2 months. So it blew up in the last like 2 months when this stuff started going on over there. And I wrote some sort of follow-up, which was like just a breakdown of like the different types of bidets. Because like we have like basically all the different types of bidets here. We have like the French one, the bum gun, and then even at my grandmother's house, they just use a bowl and like soap. Mm-hmm. And then we also at like hotels and stuff, we have the high-end like Japanese ones, which are like your, I don't know, I forgot what you called it, your like spray things. Like within like my own family, we have like a lot of different varieties of like bum washing styles. And then people have been interested in that thing because it's like a real problem, right? They must be like furiously Googling because they're like about to run out of toilet paper.
Yeah.
So like they're looking for something. So, and like people have actually written me. So there's like some people who are like racist and horrible and that's normal. But then there's some people who've like actually been like asking for help. Like, because I think the first time you do it, people have been like, okay, how, like someone was asking me like, if you're a woman, like does the spray like go back up like towards your vagina? And so I'd like ask, I'd never thought of that, right? So I'd like ask my wife and then I'd like do some experiments and see like where the water is going.
Yeah.
Because you never like think about it. And for me, it's really about the angle. But then I found that some people actually spray from the front, which I'd never thought of. And some other guy was writing me asking like, how do you keep from hitting your balls? And I was like, well, I guess my balls aren't that big. And he's like, no, I have like dangly balls. And then I was like, maybe try the angle again. Like, but like, there's all this stuff that I'd never thought about it because it's something you don't think about.
Well,
like, I don't think anybody's wiping with paper because like, it's not like someone sat down and thought about it. It's like almost a completely cultural practice. Yes. So you only really like think about it if you step outside of your culture for a minute. And whatever you're doing within your culture, you think that's the best. Just because, I mean, what else are you doing? That's like what you do every day. You can't think it's like the worst.
Literally going to say that. It's just like if you grew up a certain way doing something, it just, everything else seems completely foreign. and then like anything new that gets introduced is like just weird. And like, but again, like once it's introduced, especially a new, better way. I mean, I consider a bidet a better way of cleaning yourself. I mean, you can't go back.
Yeah, I think there's got to be something like pushes you to that point where you like question your cultural practice, because you have to usually. For a lot of people, it's because they're traveling.
Yeah.
But now it's because like, so the reason this article picked up is because people are literally running out of toilet paper. So they're like, how do I clean my butt right now? And like, that's real. Like, I understand. Like, I hope these people, I hope people like change. Like, because it's a simpler way of doing things.
Completely.
We did the history of toilet paper on our 3rd episode, and this is episode 71. And the history of toilet paper, some of the things were so barbaric, but like
Draconian.
The beginning was hand and water. And the toilet paper has only been around for like 150 years. Like it was only invented in like the late 1800s. So humans have been pooping for a lot longer than that. So there are things out there, and water just seems like the smartest thing to do.
There's actually a lot of different cultural practices around pooping, like squatting toilets. They're far more common here. But they break along class lines. So the minute you get, so people who are like of, I guess, more moneyed class will have like the Western style toilets, but then within the same house in like the maid's quarters or the driver's quarters, whatever, they'll have the squat toilets. But the squat toilets are actually better. Like, I mean, if you use them, it's actually like, so our daughter took a long time to get potty trained because she wanted to squat to poop. Like, so she'd squat like in a diaper because it was just like way easier for her.
Right.
And then even with children, there's like different cultural practices around pooping. Like in China and then like parts of India, the kids are like get potty trained way sooner because they're like they're not in diapers all the time. So in China, when I went to China, they have these like sort of button up like onesies. So the kids, like even on the road or whatever, I think they clean it up, but they'll like drop the onesie and then the kid will just like go in that. I mean, I assume they clean up after that. But so the thing is, when your kid is like shitting themselves, they figure out that, hey, this isn't great. And then they get potty trained. Whereas like our daughter, because we had like constant supply of nappies, like didn't get potty trained until she was like 3. But there's like so many different cultural practices that we take for granted around pooping. But it's actually quite different around the world. And sometimes like we classify certain ways of pooping as like dirtier or lesser or like backwards, but those are frequently the most healthy. Or the best or the cleanest, actually.
Yeah.
Well, we've learned squatting is better for you because it actually like takes out that kink in your colon. Like when you squat, your colon straightens out, so you can make that Bristol number 4 that I just made. But I have one of those like squatty potties, so it's like a stool, so I could put my knees up. So yeah, I mean like squatting. Humans, we're animals. We're supposed to be squatting.
Yeah, that's another thing. The whole squatting thing too. I'm pretty inflexible, so for me, it's like squatting's a little bit. I mean, if I'm working out, squatting is different, but like sitting there, like trying to poop, squatting is a little different for me. And Ellen gifted me a squatty potty, and it really does help. I mean, it's shocking. I mean, I can't get up. I'm not like, full like yoga pose, So my sort of like angle's a little different than probably most people, but. It was fantastic. Like it's just another game changer and a different introduction to which I imagine in different parts of the world people use a squatting kind of feature or toilet way more than here in the U.S. So for me, it was like another thing that I'm like, wow, this makes so much more sense, and it's easier to go to the bathroom and quicker. For me, anyway.
But I still like the Western toilet because, like I mean, as I was explaining, like because I have kids, like the bathroom is like the one safe space. So I do like to sit there for like as long as possible. So for me, like it's like one thing I happen to do there. It's mostly like a chair with like a door that locks, and I can be like left alone for a bit.
Yeah. You need that privacy, a little bit of space here and there. You go crazy.
Yeah.
So, have you ever you work as a journalist, you did a startup. Have you ever had like any memorable shitting your pants stories?
Shitting my pants. I haven't. Okay, so I guess recently, like a couple months ago, I was just hanging out downstairs with my wife, and I like sharted, which is like awkward, right? To be like 37 and like, shitting yourself.
I've been there.
But like most of my shit stories about like kids or dogs now. Yeah, my kids are always like pooping themselves. The dog is always, the dog used to take like, when the dog was a puppy, it would just take like rage poops on our bed.
Oh my God. Oh, that's awful.
No, she hasn't done that in a while. She hasn't done that in a while.
Yeah, we usually like to ask the question floor versus pants. So if you have Bristol 7 coming out and there's 0 toilet in sight, are you going to go somewhere on the ground or floor, or have you gone in your pants? And I know you're stuck at home right now.
But the floor, okay, so like when we were when our dog was a puppy, like it would sort of poop on the ground, like, and we have like cut cement floors, and I would have to clean that poop like for a lot of mornings, and it's like, I don't want to know. So I would say no to floor, because pants you can sort of like wash, but cleaning stuff off the floor is such a pain in the ass. Like, especially depending if it's like a 6 or 7, it's like you got to get like these mounds of toilet paper. You're like touching it. It's like disgusting. So no, I would definitely rather poop my pants than the floor.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't had any crazy poop stories for a while, because I'm very regular. Like in the morning, like I just go. So. Yeah, like and that always happens.
Cool. You go right when you wake up, or after your coffee, or
right when I wake up.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's good. And then right before you go
to bed. I mean, one good thing about working from home is you can kind of like go whenever you want to. Because like at work, it's like annoying to like take a poop, but it's just nice to be able to like go whenever you want to.
Well, even before quarantine, Dave and I work at home. We're both freelance artists, so yes, pooping at home is preferred, but I'm one of those kind of people that if I'm out and about and going on errands, I've pooped in every single chain store you can think of, from like Home Depot to grocery stores. Like, I just poop everywhere. But like when we had the therapist on, she said excitement sometimes can make your like the hormones and stuff. So when you go into a store, you get excited to buy stuff, and it actually might trigger a poop. And I was like, well, that's obviously happening to me, as I'm pooping everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate pooping outside of the house. Like, I'm like really attached to like our particular toilet. Even if we're staying at like a hotel, I don't like it. Like, I would travel like long distances to like come home to poop, like a salmon going upstream or whatever.
I used to be way more like that. I've definitely softened a little bit to like where I'll go poop, but for years, like in my early 20s and 30s even, I just couldn't, like, it was really hard. I would just sit there until the point where the pressure was just so great that I just had to go. And then I get, kind of painted into a corner, I have to go wherever. But I mean, I would just be so uncomfortable. But now I'm just kind of like, it's just, I'm not as like quite so open with as Ellen is, as far as like, I kind of assess the situation. I love how Gerald just walked by.
Yeah. In his underwear.
God, it's so great.
That's my partner waking up.
Oh, it's so funny.
I have had more constipation problems in my life. So whenever I have to poop, I'm just excited that it wants to get out of me. So that's why I'll poop anywhere. Like, I'm not going to be picky about where I go. I'm just happy it's like happening. So
fair enough.
My kids are cool like that. There's actually one coffee shop in our town which seems to make like everybody poop somehow. Like we take our kids there, and they always, like, one time there was a line. There was like, both of my kids, and then like someone else like had to poop, and like there's something about that coffee shop. I don't know.
And they only have one toilet?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I was quite proud of my kids.
Very busy toilet.
Train, and they're like able to poop like outside. That was great.
That's great. Nice.
Okay. They don't care as much. I think like caring like is something that maybe gets built in later.
Oh, for sure.
Because they just don't understand. They don't even like I can still fart around them, because they don't like register it as like a bad thing yet.
Yeah.
Or like even smell. They don't seem as sensitive to it.
Everything that's negative about being a human is a learned trait. Like, you're a father. When you're a baby, you love your body. You love everything about it. You love your fatness. And as we get older, we're learned to hate things like about our body. Like, you're not born hating your body. You're born happy that your body works and happy that you get fed, So yeah, I totally see that. Yeah. Farts and pooping is like a negative because it's a learned thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a learned trait for sure.
Yeah. Sorry.
I was gonna say, since I went backwards about this, I mean, should we start asking Indy some of those questions? I mean, we were done about the pants or floor, so.
Well, you wanted to go right into the accident stories. You were very excited.
I love accident stories.
Indy, if you do use toilet paper, we know you wash, but is there like a brand that you like, or like, I guess because we might not know the brands in Sri Lanka very well, but maybe there's a texture or some kind of toilet paper you prefer to buy?
So I do like a hybrid like wipe. So I think the cleanest thing is to like get water and hand and soap. So that's actually what I use for my kids, and that's absolutely the cleanest. But because, like, I don't know, maybe because I partly grew up in the West or whatever, I still like I don't like doing that. So I'll do like a spray, and then I do like a wipe with the toilet paper. And if there's any like evidence on the toilet paper, then I'll do a spray again. But so the toilet paper brand, literally, we just like, I don't know, we get like whatever's available. So again, it's not like we don't have like an aisle for like toilet paper, right? It's just like one product that you like have somewhere, because like not even everybody's buying it, right?
Right.
So I think the brands we have are like Flora, or there's like the store brand,
right?
And these are just like random. So like,
do you know what the texture is? Like, is it soft? Is it hard? Is it one ply?
We don't even have that, right? We're like, there's no labeling saying like what apply is.
Right. It's just whatever is available. So it's kind of like,
it's just like toilet paper. I don't know. Yeah. So like, I guess it's the same. To me, it feels the same as like a Kleenex, like the thing you blow your nose with.
Yeah.
So I don't even know what it is. But then the thing is, it's not like touching. Like, I'll take like two strips of it, and it's essentially to dry my butt.
Yeah.
And if I see anything there, then I'm like, oh crap, I got to go back and like wash a bit better. But so it's not like such an intimate relationship for us, right? Like, so when we built the house, like we got a bum gun that we liked, but the toilet paper is not like if you're wiping your butt 100% with toilet paper, I understand why you want like the best thing, but for us, it's just like a sort of supplementary optional thing. So we don't have this, like, I don't know what it's like in your supermarkets there, but I guess you have like choices of toilet paper.
Tons.
With like different like things to compare them based on, and we don't. We just have like toilet paper.
I mean, I prefer. We have the huge chains of grocery stores here that has like everything you could think of, like 500 different kinds of cereal and like 500 different kinds of toilet paper. But then we have this one grocery store chain here called Trader Joe's, and they only have one kind of toilet paper, and I kind of like that. I like just like being able to just pick out the one, like, so I'm kind of jealous. I don't like over choices, because if I have too many choices, I'll just not buy anything. Like, I'll just be like, forget this is too much. I don't.
Yeah, so I grew up like that, and then now when I go back, I find it stressful. Like, I can't deal with. I went to Whole Foods. My wife was in New York for a while. I went to Whole Foods once, and I just had to like turn around and leave, because I was like, I can't. Like, you want to get like hummus? There's like 400 kinds of hummus.
Yeah.
Like, and I can't. Like,
I'm with you.
Too much.
Because I think, like, to some degree, you guys have this amazing consumer culture and all these like choices, but then like not like public health or like fruit or like just random like.
Well, that's like it's like all that consumerism stuff is more like, to me, I imagine it more like a smokescreen. It's like, see, don't you have all this choice, like this sort of phony version of like, you can choose. And it's like, not really. Because like, I mean, it's just, no, but it's true though. It's just like, because you can pick a different cell phone carrier, you think like we're free, like, or like, we have actual choice. It's not really, it's like an illusion. But
and like type of toilet paper is just not something anybody thinks about here. Like, it's just not, it doesn't occur to anybody, because you are like washing your butt, and then you're not going to say like types of, like, people might shop for like bidets, or like they might splurge for like the fancy like Japanese toilets or whatever, but it's more of like a one-time buying question.
Yes.
It's not something where you go in every week and think about like your butt. Like, we just don't.
Yeah.
Like, we'll buy toilet paper like once every few months.
Wow.
But the toilet paper you do have, do you hang it on the roll over or under?
Like over. Yeah, over. I don't like it if it's under. I hate it if it's under.
No one does. I do. I like it under, but I would say like the majority of guests are over. We did a whole episode about that too, by the way. Like how?
Yeah, that's an important question.
And people like, there's been tons of papers, like experiments, like everything about the over versus under debate, and it's.
Then what my wife hates is I actually take the toilet paper roll off. Like, I take it off completely and I put it like on the like side of the toilet, or I put it like on the dresser, and I actually like pull it off from that. And she hates that because sometimes like if I have a runny nose or something, I'll like take the toilet paper like away.
Yeah.
And I think for women, toilet paper is more of a requirement than like for men. And then she hates it because I just like disappear with the toilet paper.
It's like on your desk. You're like, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Here you go.
No, literally, I take it to my desk. Yeah.
It's funny.
Yes, we have a different function with the toilet paper that's very needed.
Yes, you do.
Yes. I mean, you told us about potty training your kids, but what about like you as a child? Do you have any memories as pooping or farting as a kid?
So pooping or farting. So I remember like a story my grandmother always tells me is that like when I was very little, this is in like Canada when she came to visit, that like she like, so I was wearing clothes all the time, and her being like a Sri Lankan grandmother, she just let me like run around butt naked. And then she said I started peeing outside, and I was like so happy because I hadn't like just been that free to like see myself like pissing in the outdoors. So like since we've been on quarantine, like my son is basically like a nudist. Like he's almost always naked. So then like we have a pool, and when we go swimming, if he needs to pee, I just like let him run loose in the garden, and he just goes and like pees in the garden. And so he's quite thrilled with that. Yeah.
Your son's living the dream. He is living the dream.
Yeah, but then he took like a dump in the garden, and we were just like, no, this is too far. And then I was like cleaning it up, and I couldn't clean up all of it, and then the dog came and like ate the rest of it. I was like, no.
Oh, that's so funny. You're like, okay, a little too much freedom.
But he was thrilled, man. I could see it. He was like free. He was happy, and I had to crush that, but he was great.
Oh my God, that's great. Oh, he's
the
like,
freedom
great.
of pooping outside when you're a kid.
My dad's not letting me live my best life. Come on, man.
No, he's living his best life, man. He doesn't care. He doesn't listen.
Oh, that's great.
If you do have diarrhea or constipation, what's the best like cure, or what do you do to help those things?
So what they do here is, so we lived on the same street with my wife's parents, and so here it's sort of like more of a public thing. Like you'll tell people if you have like stomach problems, like so you'll be like, oh, I have a stomach thing, and he'll immediately make this like somewhat foul concoction of like ginger and salt. It's called Indi. So it's like a drink. It's like basically ground up ginger and water and salt, and you're supposed to like shot this thing. And that cures like whatever ails you, everything from like diarrhea to like cancer. You get like Indi.
Wow!
I'm gonna try
and that cures constipation too.
You'll get. I think it's almost a punishment, but yeah, you'll get a shot of Indi for everything. And like in my mom's generation, like if they had any stomachache, they'd give them something like even worse, which would like just straight up make you shit yourself. It would like make you like. And my mom used to hate it. Because this is when they went back to the village, and they were just any sort of ailment. It's like you need to purge, so you get this like thing which like makes everything must go.
Oh wow!
Wait, so what was it?
I don't know. I'm sure it's some like foul concoction of herbs.
No.
Ellen's like, I want to make it.
I can find out. Like,
I guess I'm always constipated. I'm always trying to figure out what's the next best thing to make me shit.
So our daughter was always constipated, which is why she always like squatted. And then we used to give her prunes, which are hard to find here, but then also just like fruit, like papaya. We'd give her like lots of fruit. Thing is, she like refuses to eat vegetables, so there's like zero like fiber in her system. But we try fruit.
Fruit, cool. Yeah, I like fruit.
That used to be my go-to if I was traveling, because I'd always get the travel constipation, and I realized if I found fruit, it would move a little bit easier. Yeah, fruit is the best.
But I never have I only had constipation once. I usually have like the other end, like diarrhea. So then I just wait it out.
That's where I'm at. Just kind of like just till it stops. I use charcoal pills. It usually helps with like just sort of at least settling my stomach a little bit, and then until that nastiness stops.
Actually, I do have a poop story. So we went to this one restaurant where they have like so basically they have kotu, which is like you get a ground up flatbread with a lot of like vegetables and like chicken and spices and so on. I'm like mostly veg, so I had the veg one. But this one had like a ton of like spice, like crazy spicy. And normally I can take spicy food, but the next day like we all like sprayed the bowl. Like it was like full, like diarrhea the next day.
It was like a
But the
murder
thing is,
scene.
then the next day still, this kotu was so good that we ordered it again. And then the day after that, we also sprayed the bowl. And at that point, we like had enough and like we stopped. But like,
Oh my God, I've totally been there. You're like, this is killing me, but it's so delicious.
yeah.
Oh, that's
Like
great.
I had one crap meal where the next day it felt like Satan himself was coming out of my butthole. But it was like such a good meal.
Hey, a good meal, man. You know, it makes you go back.
Where's the worst toilet you've ever seen that you've had to go in?
So we have this so I live in Colombo, and at the very far north there's this town called Jaffna, and you take this bus. It's a night bus. So I took the night bus once, and I had my stomach was not doing good, and it's like an 8-hour, 9-hour bus ride, and my stomach was not winning. So I felt bad for everybody on that bus because I was gassy, and I just had to let it go, right? Like it could be because it's they wouldn't know, but I do feel bad for those people. And then we just stop at some random tiny place to just get some rolls, or they just let you have tea in the middle of the night. And I just had to run and go to this back, an outhouse. And you can have nice outhouses, but this is not a nice outhouse. This is middle of nowhere, crappy outhouse.
Hole in the wall.
Yeah, and it's pitch dark. So squat toilets are fine, but when it's pitch dark, you don't know, and there's fucking snakes and stuff. So I just had
Nope.
I squat and let it go.
Oh my God.
And when you have diarrhea, you want some safe space, and this is not a safe space, but I just had to do it.
Oh my God, that is.
You've heard of people having snakes in their squat toilet?
I don't know squat. Okay, look, there's just definitely snakes around. So if it's outside and has water, it's possible to get a snake there. But we did have a rat in our toilet once.
What?
Yeah. So once I came back from walking the dog, and then the dog poked in the bathroom, which is unusual, and then it was looking in the toilet. I was like, "What are you doing?" And I looked, and there was a rat in the toilet. And I was like, "Oh my God!" And I didn't feel safe. I mean, we got the rat out, but I didn't feel safe for years after that.
Oh, I'm with you.
My
I would have thought
God.
if my wife even heard this, she can't. She is terrified of rats. If she hears this, she is going to lose her mind. I mean, that's the worst nightmare.
Because it's an article of fate that when you turn around, you face away and you sit down.
Oh my God!
And there won't be a fucking rat under there sniffing your butt.
Yeah, I would. That would mess me up, man. that would
and rats in the toilet.
PTSD for sure. PTSD.
The snake thing, I don't know, but I've definitely seen a rat.
Oh my God. Woo.
I saw a video online yesterday. They were there was something in the ground, and the camera zoomed in, and it was a hole in the ground with literally 20 little snakes popping their heads out. And I was like, nope, I'm never going outside again if I saw that. I would never.
You don't like snakes? Okay, yeah.
No.
I mean, we don't have that many snakes, but we've had snakes in the house before. They're usually okay.
Yeah, I'm not a big snakes kind of freak me out too a little bit. I mean,
snakes are pretty scary, I guess. Yeah.
I have friends that have snakes as pets, and when they bring them out, I am please, I'm having a moment over here. I need to get away from this. But a snake in a toilet would that would fuck me up too. But the rat thing, that wins. That's the number one. I mean, that is nightmares for sure.
Yeah, it's really hard to trust. It's really hard to trust again after.
Oh my God.
Dave, if you're in an outhouse and it's pitch dark and you have explosive diarrhea coming out, and the thing you can't stop thinking about is there's a possible snake in there, no. I'd be
So the thing about explosive diarrhea is it clears all other thoughts out of your head pretty fast.
Yeah.
It's just this has to go. I was waiting for that toilet the whole bus ride. It was the worst toilet, but I was praying for it. I was like, I can't wait for this damn bus to stop.
Please,
so I can
please,
clear this
please.
Problem.
Oh my God.
I'd be screaming the whole time. They'd be hearing me from the outhouse no. I'd be
and this is before phone lights also, so you just have to go for it.
Oh my God. Wow. That's an adventure.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Like an Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And you're obviously married, and your partner's okay with your poop talk?
No, she doesn't like it. She doesn't like
She
it.
doesn't?
No,
So what did
I
she
was
think
listening to your
of your
podcast.
bidet
I was listening to the podcast like on a speaker, and she was just like making faces the whole time. Being like, what is this?
That is the best. Yeah,
she says she doesn't like poop stuff, but I can still like make her laugh with like poop jokes, and she like doesn't want to, but she does find it funny.
Right. Yeah, we're kind of polarizing. I feel like a lot of people either like it or they don't. It's fine. I get it.
We have an Instagram page, and we've been putting an ad on there to like get people to listen to the podcast. And I have a lot of people just commenting, no.
No. Why or why? No or why?
No, but people should talk about it more. People should talk about it more. Like, yeah, this is the most important thing. Like sanitation is civilization.
Completely.
Like people's life expectancy didn't really improve from like the Cro-Magnon days until you had like actual plumbing and sanitation. Like that more than like any other aspect of civilization is what like made life better.
Completely.
And you don't realize it till you don't have it. But it's like, yeah, sanitation is the best.
Right,
like pooping is like super important.
Yeah, that and vaccines.
Yeah. And then like, and you know, so our old dog died, and like as he was, he went pretty easy actually. But as he went, I realized like, you know, the last few days, it's like if he was pooping, I knew he was okay. And then immediately if he's not, so like if you're pooping, you're healthy, you're like alive, and you take it for granted. But then you talk to old people, and they're like super grateful for like a, you know, a motion, like a good motion.
Yeah.
Because you don't think about it till you don't have it, right? And then it's like, oh, I'm dying.
Yeah. If you're not pooping, that's bad. That's really bad.
That's why I was telling you, my constipation has been my worst enemy my whole life. So if I gotta go, I'm going wherever I am.
Yeah, I used to think constipation. I used to like think like, hey, that sounds great. You don't have to poop. But then I was at some like random Indian town, like, you know, Sai Baba, like some weird Indian mystics town. There's some dude who used to like materialize Rolexes for people and stuff, and he had like, it was like a bit of a cult. Like I didn't believe in it. I just wanted to like see what that was about.
Right.
But anyway, I ended up like constipated in his like ashram town, and I was like not happy about it. I actually like, it's weird how miserable it makes you.
Oh, completely.
Because I thought like, hey, pooping, like that's like unnecessary. But like, no, it's necessary.
It's completely necessary, and it's something that people should be doing.
Just sitting on the toilet and trying for like hours, it's like so depressing.
I mean, I know people that go to the bathroom like maybe like once a week, twice a week sometimes.
Really?
And that's just, and I can't even fathom that. Like I go twice, 2 to 3 times a day, like a week.
Yeah, I think once a week is that's a bit intense.
Yeah.
I like when I was young, if we went to like summer camp or whatever, then I like wouldn't poop, but I'd be miserable. But not summer camp. Like we go to town for like a weekend or whatever, and I just would hold it.
It's so not healthy. You know, like you eat food, it's got to come out. It's not healthy to hold on to that stuff. Your gut is just going to be destroyed.
Yeah.
And sometimes I wonder like where it all goes. Like sometimes my daughter will have a poop, and I'm like, where were you keeping that? Like that's like 20% of your body. Like where was that?
You're so little. Like how is this coming out of you?
Yeah, it's scary. It's so scary.
Oh my god.
Kids are like weird. They're dealing with their butts like for like years.
Besides your bidet, is there anything else you use? Like, do you use matches or a spray or anything else to help you with your pooping experience?
So one thing I do, so like in my old office, we just had one bathroom. So I try not to poop at that office. But one time I just really had to poop, and it was like a stinker. And it's a small bathroom, right? And then it was not well ventilated. And then I stepped out, and then this girl, who's like the nicest girl in the office, walked in immediately afterwards. I was so mortified. And then I told my wife this, and she's like, oh, like, why didn't you flush like before? And I was like, what? And she's like, no, like before you get off the toilet seat. I was like, oh, okay. So I actually do that sometimes. So like immediately after I poop, I'll flush.
Yeah, we call that the courtesy flush.
Courtesy flush.
Yeah, the courtesy flush. And that's, so I should do that quite frequently. So when you asked me to do the scale, like I had to like not do that because I actually frequently do that. Because also like with kids, like sometimes they're just right outside the damn door and they like want to come in immediately afterwards. So I just like do a flush for like them also.
Yeah. Those
Yeah,
kids.
I don't have children, but I have a nephew. And when my nephew was like 2, I was at my brother's house, and I went to the bathroom to go, and there wasn't like a lock on the door. He just like came into the bathroom, and I was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he's like, "What are you doing?" And he like pushed himself up against the wall, but he wants to be with me. And I was like, "I'm pooping," and he's like, "Yeah, it's stinky." And I'm like, "Then why are you in here? Like, leave. You can go somewhere else."
Oh my God.
No, but kids are like that. Like I don't allow this, but my wife will poop with the kids in the bathroom. They just sit on a ledge and they just like want to hang out, which I guess yeah, for them it's like not gross, but for us it's just like super weird. I don't allow that. Like,
Yeah,
I'd
with you
line
on that. I'd be with you on that one, man. I'm like, nope. This is daddy's time. So, unless you have anything else to add, any kind of poop stories, I'd like to get into our little segment called Let's Get Shitty, where you get to complain about things. And they don't.
Yeah, Indy, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, but I mean, I think your audience, I suppose they're probably on the boat already, but they should just go out and get like some sort of bidet, like either your spray thing or like some hand bidet, and just like try it. Like there's no point like researching or like trying to figure it out before, because it's actually like doesn't make sense unless you actually try it, but it'll change your life. And it's probably like a service to humanity, I think, also.
Amen.
Oh, yeah.
Amen.
I've had a couple of friends over since I've gotten the Snap-on bidet, and they all, right after, go and buy one. They're like, yeah, that has changed my life.
Yeah, and then you don't have to like queue for like toilet paper. Like here we queue for like food. I can't imagine taking up that much like shopping cart space for like toilet paper.
Yeah.
Like to take like your whole shopping cart full of toilet paper. It's like, okay, what are you eating?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
What's
exactly.
the input part of this problem?
People are crazy. Well, this little segment we like to call "Let's Get Shitty," and it's a sort of like a complaint department. So it does not have to be poop or fart related. It could be like just what's on your mind that's kind of bugging you. And I'm gonna play
I
this.
have a complaint.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna play this quick little sound effect or intro, and then we'll get into it.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for Let's Get Shitty.
So, Indy, you're our guest. Would you like to go first?
Yeah. So my complaint is that you can't try toilets before you buy them. So we bought toilets, like we built our house,
Okay.
and like we couldn't. So I hate our toilet. Like I don't like our toilet. Like it takes me like 2 flushes. I find it undignified. Like my wife and I are constantly finding like trails. Like it's not like the right toilet for us. The seat is all weird. But like it's one product where you have like there's no like YouTube like vloggers who are like comparing toilets. There's no like Wirecutter doesn't cover it.
Yes.
Like it's just something they show you some like Italian model or some person like walking around like dancing around in their bathroom and like you're supposed to like buy this thing. So when we went toilet shopping, I would actually sit on the toilets. Like in the shop, and my wife would like look at me funny, but I was like, no, like I'm gonna sit on this thing for like the rest of my life. Like I want to like sit on it, but even that is like frowned upon.
Completely.
And if they had let me, I would have just like dropped a deuce there and seen like can it handle my poop? Like is it like how responsive is? But you can't do that. So like now I'm stuck with this toilet that like I don't like because you can't try your toilet before you buy it.
That's true. I never really thought about it. It's just kind of like whatever you get is now what you got. It's like there's no like sort of like it's not like a car.
And people live with like the same toilet forever. So like my in-laws like they built their house at a certain point in their lives, and then they actually like moved up in life, and now they're like have more income and stuff. Mm-hmm. They still have the same like terrible toilet. It's got like a janky handle. You have to, it's
yes,
like,
the worst.
It's just like that's like something you'll never upgrade. Like you'll change your car every 3 years, but your toilet, like wherever you were when you first bought a toilet, that's like what you're gonna shit on until you die.
Yeah.
And you don't get to try it out at all.
That's a great Let's Get Shitty.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, Dave and I rent our apartments in New York, and like the toilet that comes with my shitty rental, like it's like I bought a new seat because I was like, I'm not fucking sitting my bare butt down on a seat that some other renters have been sitting on.
Yep.
And then I actually I hired somebody to go in the toilet tank and rip all the stuff out and put a better flushing mechanism in the tank. So now it flushes so much better, and it's not one of those like low flushing models. It's like, ugh, that which you have to like flush over and over to get the poop to go down. It's like, it's ridiculous. I completely agree.
Yeah, we lucked out.
I find it so undignified.
Completely, I'm with you. We lucked out. I mean, we had our toilet. We moved in. Our apartment was fully renovated, and everything was brand new. So, but then in the last couple of years, we got a new toilet because the ring around the toilet was leaking down to the floor below us. So they came in and put a brand new toilet in, which is pretty awesome. So we pretty much have a brand new toilet, but it's still like compared to like. It's like the basic one they give you. It's not like, but it does flush pretty well. I gotta give it that, because there's nothing worse than those low flow or those little wimpy like flush toilets are the worst. Oh.
When you go toilet shopping, it's amazing because there's actually like a lot of choices, and it's not clear like what makes them different.
Yeah.
So here they try to make them like this designer object. Like there's one catalog where it had like the designer's name next to all of them. I'm like, what? Like, how does it handle my poop?
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if the guy's Italian.
It's more of an aesthetic thing than function. It's just like, it looks cool. But does it flush?
Dave and I had a plumber on the podcast, and he said, because I asked him, like, when it comes to buying toilets, what do you suggest? And he goes, $100 toilet and a $400 toilet. He goes, the $100 toilet does the same thing. Just buy $100 one. He's like, you don't have to go, unless you're buying a Toto toilet where you got the built-in everything, the bells and whistles. He was just basically like, yeah, $100 toilet is fine. You don't have to go fancy. And I was like, good to know. Oh, my let's get shitty is credit card fraud during quarantine is the most frustrating thing. My partner's credit card was, information was stolen as the quarantine started. So people are criming more because they can get away with it right now. And that was insanely frustrating because a lot of his bills are like automatically billed on his credit card.
Right.
So.
Oh, it's awful.
Yeah. That's my
I guess
list.
it's like you can get away with it, right? Like, the cops aren't going to do? It's like the purge out there now.
Completely.
Exactly.
No, it is. Like, cops are sick here too. They're not really patrolling like sort of smaller, low-level crimes, and people are just kind of like, cool. It's fucked up. Humanity just like.
But our cops are like everywhere. Like we've actually like arrested more people for breaking curfew than we have cases of.
Wow.
Well, I think we've arrested like 20,000 people.
Really?
Wow.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean,
I actually saw something on the news this morning that I know you're not in India, you're in Sri Lanka, but in India, they were getting tourists that were screwed up the quarantine to write, I'm sorry, 500 times.
Yeah. India's so like Kerala is one part of India, and they have like actually a communist government, and they're doing really well. So they're actually like feeding people, taking care of people, doing a lot of testing, and they have a low amount of cases. So they've kind of beat it. But the rest of India, so the central government India is like kind of dickish, and like they're just very draconian and like very fucked up. So I mean, yeah, getting tourists to write is one thing. They actually like get people to kneel and like beat them with like sticks as well. India's like province by province. So like these big countries, even the US, the things are like breaking down by like states. Like the US, as far as I can tell, like you guys have like it's not united anymore. No. You have like California and like their posse, and then like New York is starting its own little republic.
Yeah, completely. No, California, I forget the name of it. California, Oregon, and Colorado are starting a sort of like COVID-19.
Yeah, like the West Coast Pack. Yeah,
that's what it was, West Coast Pack. Thank you.
Ice Cube and like Dr. Dre.
Yes,
and
pretty much. It's like a all-star band. But yeah, it's crazy.
That's here. So India is a lot like that. So India, there's like a lot of bad shit going on, especially in the north, where they're not handling it really well. But Kerala, like the communist government is handling it really well.
Fascinating. Yeah, well,
I saw videos of them like caning people in the street, and I was like, "Oh my God!" And I was like, "But at the same time, I kind of wish they were doing that here to the assholes who are playing basketball and stuff."
Well, I mean, to a degree, like you have to. Okay, so you guys shut down way too late. Way too late. Like we shut down before like 100. And even then, it's like we're barely keeping a lid on the thing.
Yeah.
So places like Vietnam or whatever, where if you shut down like early, then it costs you way less. It's like, and just less people die, like thousands less people die.
I'm with you. We're both with you 100%. A lot of people in this country are, but it just, we have no leader.
It's really unfortunate for you guys, man. It's amazing how like bad leadership can like fuck everything up.
Completely. We have people that are just it's just led by greed.
Our president fired our pandemic office last year. So
yeah, it's crazy.
We were fucked before this even started.
Yeah.
So like countries used to sort of benchmark the US or like the UK for stuff, and like that's done. Oh, like nobody points to like the Western countries.
Why should they?
So all of our guidance is like we compare it to like Singapore or Korea or China, and we get advice from them. Nobody's fucking calling the US CDC for like anything.
No.
Like,
why should they? It's crazy to us. So it's like it's sad.
I don't think Americans see like how much soft power they're like losing right now. Like it used to be like people just don't look up to America anymore, which is sad because America did provide some good stuff to the world as well.
And we lost all that ranking. We lost all that sort of like goodwill. I mean, a long time ago, but I mean, it's a mess. And we're dealing with all that stuff.
Very apparent now.
We're in election year too on top of all this. So it's like, it's just the fall and going into November will be very telling and interesting to see what happens. But
then I don't know, like I mean, you can tie it back to butts as well. Like then maybe you can start to see outside, like maybe because everybody's been following, like you could say we're America, we use toilet paper, therefore toilet paper is the best. But like America being the best is no longer like a tautology, like it's not true anymore. No. So there's certain stuff you could question, like hey, maybe people could like use healthcare. Like maybe that's not like a consumer product where like you want choices. Like here, like you have like we're a poor country, but like you can have like a heart attack or like need a colostomy bag or whatever, and nobody goes like bankrupt for that. People do go have medical problems which cost a lot of money, like different types of like cancers and so on. But the basic stuff, like we don't worry about going to a hospital for, and we're a poor country, so it's weird.
I think that's what's put us in this problem to begin with, because as Americans, if you get sick, you still are supposed to go to work because you have to. You don't have a choice. And that's probably why it got spread so quickly, coronavirus, because nobody stays home when they're sick because they're terrified of like losing work.
Yeah. I mean, my whole thing about healthcare, some kind of like universal healthcare just makes so much sense to me, even if you're a big corporation, because like if you're worried about like your family or like living paycheck to paycheck due to some kind of illness that you can potentially go bankrupt from, the fact that you had a company or someone like backing you health wise, that the amount of stress that's taken off your back, and you're relieved the fact that you and your family now can be provided for like, again, basic things like I break my ankle. I'm not thinking about like, oh my God, it's going to cost me $10,000, or I broke my arm. And I mean, it's just one of those things where I think like the whole mental like release of like having not to worry about am I gonna pay for my medication or pay for rent or pay for my mortgage.
And it's cheaper. You guys pay like so much for stuff.
Oh yeah,
like it's just cheap.
It's such a
like,
scam.
Even as like a taxpayer, it's like a cheaper. So I think I don't think this is what will come of it, but like it is possible for like Americans to maybe look outside of America for like, hey, maybe we don't need like assault rifles like in like everywhere. Like, here, like you can't buy a gun. Like there's nothing I can do to buy a gun. Yeah. And nobody's like, oh, we need our guns. And we like rebel against our government like pretty frequently, right? Like it's not like limited our freedom in any way. But there's all this stuff that like Americans culturally take for granted, which are like the rest of the world is like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you like wiping your butt with paper and like, carrying it out and like go grocery shopping? Yeah. Like, why?
I think for us, it's
Indi, you're preaching to the choir.
Yeah, I mean, you're preaching to the choir. Okay. I think it's a lot of it too is just like our government's been bought and sold to corporations, and it's just greed controls everything. You know, like all these things make sense, and then as soon as someone try to puts it in a logical, like ethical way, the waters get muddied by someone who's like, oh, we'll just have this person that will give me what, $1 million for my campaign? Sure. Let me just say that like universal healthcare is a bad thing. So it's just people just,
Yeah, but it's sad because you guys because America's missed out. Like, because East Asian countries, other countries have been investing in their people for like 20 years now.
Yeah.
Whereas like you guys just been like, you guys had something good like in the 50s and 60s. You've just been like milking that, like paying it out to like private equity and whoever's going to like loot this thing. It's like a mafia bust out over there.
Yeah.
Whereas like you go to like have you been to Korea?
I've never been to Korea.
I haven't.
Oh, Korea is amazing. It's like the future. You go there and like, oh, this is civilization.
Yeah.
Like everything works. Like people in the metro, the metros are beautiful and people queue up and they like leave distances between. Like the airports are beautiful. Like the technology is amazing. The internet is fast. Like they have healthcare. It's like,
yeah. Well, no, it's like,
and their arts and stuff are like amazing as well. And you're like, oh, this is the future.
Well,
you go back to like America and you're like, oh, this place was cool once and it's like got good TV. And you can like buy 400 types of toys.
Yeah, that's exactly, you're exactly right. There's no, it's like you have all these smoke screen things that keep your eye off the actual like prize, which is like people. And we don't invest in our people here at all.
You guys in this weird debate where like, how do we turn the economy back on? Well, like, and if people have to die, that's fine. But like, there's this, nobody else has that debate. Nobody's like nobody in Asia is like, do we need to kill our grandparents? Like, that's not like a topic of like, we wouldn't bring that up. And it also doesn't make sense. Like, I don't know what people think an economy is. Like, an economy is people.
People are so beaten over the head with like the almighty dollar here and capitalism and the Dow Jones that it's almost foreign to them. Like this idea of like, oh, there's a different way. I mean, I would say like I would like to think
like the idea of sacrificing your grandparents has never come up here, and you couldn't bring that up.
Completely.
No, but the people who are talking about sacrificing their grandparents here are also the pro-lifers. So it like makes zero sense.
Oh.
How can you be pro-life but you want to kill your grandparents? Like it's like
there's no logic there. That's just like a cultural like signifier because those guys are all getting abortions left and right if like they knock up their mistress or whatever.
Completely.
Right? Exactly.
The hypocrisy is out of control. And again, I mean, as much as like it's again the narrative too, especially for the globally, is that this is like the majority of this country, which is not, but it's just still like, but that's the way it plays out. I think a lot of people are like, but it's just like the way things have been drawn out with like politics. No one votes locally anymore. No one cares about like what's going on in their community. And it's
you guys also don't vote.
And it's systemic.
like we vote like 70-80% in like every election. And like we've had elections where people would like try to kill you for voting, but we still voted.
Like the late great Bill Hicks once said, he's like, the human race is we're a virus with shoes. That's all we are on this earth. And it's like there's some great people out there doing amazing things, and unfortunately the ones that
there's
aren't.
Different ways to do stuff. Like so, like the old communist governments which have become capitalist have actually like Vietnam is amazing. So like Vietnam's responded like really well to this without much money, and like. You know, they have like good quarantine centers. They have good public health management. They have like really good like songs and like media about this stuff. Like Taiwan's done really well.
Yeah, I've heard
Korea's done really well. Like so, like Kerala, even in India, has done really well. Sri Lanka's doing like okay. Like I mean, one thing that's happening with American decline is partly kind of had to happen. So like here I usually consume a lot of like American media, but now I consume more like East Asian. Or like I read more like South China Morning Post and like Korea Herald and stuff. So and even like with Parasite, right? Like there's a huge amount of like media and stuff coming out of Korea, and over here we're actually like shifting like our media diet and like even our who we follow essentially to East Asia. So this is kind of accelerating that. China is obviously not the greatest place to follow, but we do follow them to a large degree as well.
Yeah, no, it's like the fall of the Roman Empire. And again, like, it's greed.
I think it's actually fallen, you know? Like, I think it fell with 9/11. Like, anybody that stays in Afghanistan for that long is, like, not long for this world.
Exactly.
Yeah. But again, greed. Like, that's a thing. It's like, and it's not like, you know, to say we're the only ones that do that, but it's just, we do it really well. And we fucked it up to the point where, you know, our government doesn't really protect its people. And, you know, it's kind of sad. I mean, it is sad. It's really fucked up. It's been, and as a person of color, a black person, like that's been like my narrative forever. So, you know, you kind of see like, oh, the government treats everybody like shit, and people are just waking up to that now, which is insane to me.
Yeah, so with the pandemic, you could see it, right? Because people have always been saying, hey, they're treating me like shit, but it was always someone else, and now it's suddenly like, oh, like even rich white people can get this, but it's still affecting black people more somehow.
Completely.
Like it's still affecting.
socioeconomics. It's like just, you're being kept. It's just, it's a whole thing. This is kind of like my Let's Get Shitty. This is perfect.
I was about to say, Dave, we haven't gotten to yours
No.
yet.
Well, that's that's pretty much it's said. Just in that whole little exchange we just did. Well, you know what? For the time being, though, I'm gonna flush those problems away, even though they're still here. But
We can accept.
it's our little way of like cleansing the palate.
Yeah, cool.
We usually do a news segment, but what I wanted to tell people out there is just to go on a Medium and read this amazing article. White people, you need to wash your butts. Toilet paper is not enough. By the great Indi Samarajiva. So, and with that, I want to say thank you so much. And again, I'm going to practice your name after this, so I do apologize for shredding that.
We'll most definitely
you're doing good. Just gotta sound it out.
Okay.
I struggle with it also. My name.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show. And where can people find you? Like on social media or Twitter? Are you?
So I'm on Twitter as Indica, at Indica, like the marijuana. But
okay. And any Instagram feeds or websites or anything like that?
No, I deleted Instagram. And then, so you can type in indie.ca and that leads you to my Medium page.
Okay, great. Perfect. So go check it out. And we're very thankful for you being on the show. And, stay safe. Stay safe out there.
Especially it's right before your bedtime. So thank you so much.
Oh, no, this is fine. I just be playing like Catan or something.
Well, we're glad you took a little pause in gameplay to talk with us. And
thank you guys. You're doing God's work. People need to keep talking about poop. It's important.
Thank you so much. That means a lot.
Thank you. But happy pooping, everybody, and toot, toot, toot.
Hey Poopy Podcast is brought to you by Perfect 4 Entertainment. Produced by Dave and Ellen, with executive producer Stormy Leather, edited by me, Dave.
For more information, go to heypoopypodcast.com for episodes, merch, and more. Follow us on Instagram at heypoopypodcast and Twitter at heypoopy. Theme song by Jordan Perlson. Hey Poopy.